Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a quick and sort of fun video about one of my favorite fragrances of all time. It's CKB by Calvin Klein. And this was my signature scent and my only scent from the time I was about 19 till I was in my mid-20s. And I wanted to do a video on it because I wore it today as my scent of the day, and I was reminded of how much I love it and how comforting I find it, but also because I saw a video by Varanus Rudari, which I'll link in the description box, where he did an in-depth history of Calvin Klein fragrances. And he said something about CKB that really rang true to me, which is that CKB is kind of like a LGBT barbershop fragrance, which made me laugh, but it also made me think because I really do see CKB as being kind of the ultimate LGBT fragrance. So I'm going to ramble on a lot about CKB. If you've worn CKB or if you're interested to hear my thoughts about it, stick around. So, like I mentioned, I got CKB when I was in college. I was 19 years old, and I got a wild hair and decided that I wanted to have a signature scent. And I did some research on the internet. I probably Googled unisex fragrances, and that led me to the ad campaign for CKB. This is a 1996 release, which came out shortly after CK1, which was notable for being the first mainstream designer fragrance marketed as unisex. And this CKB was released 2 years later. It has this incredible ad campaign by Richard Avedon, the photographer, which features Kate Moss. And it's this very stylistic, heroin chic, thin models, black and white, wife beaters, and Calvin Klein underwear. Just really, really cool. And so I blind bought it, and when it arrived and I smelled it, I just fell in love, and I didn't stop wearing it for many, many years after. The perfumer on this one is a guy named Rene Morgenthaler, who has only been credited online with like 4 or 5 perfumes. This is by far the most noteworthy. To give you an idea of what it smells like, CKB has top notes of lavender, mint, bergamot, juniper, and mandarin orange. It has heart notes of green grass, peach, jasmine, freesia, and magnolia, and base notes of musk, sandalwood, cedar, vanilla, amber, and opoponax. Now, this fragrance to me is, it's really important to me because it's inextricably linked to a time in my life that was foundational in the rest of my life. So I got it when I was in college. It was my first time living out of my parents' house. I was living in a big city, Washington, D.C. at the time, and discovering my own sexuality as a gay man, and had my first boyfriend at the time, and he loved CKB too, actually still does. We're still friends. But in my mind, in the period in which I wore this, which probably 19 to when I was 27, it's such an amazing time to look back on because it's when I really discovered my own identity, and came to own myself as a person, and all of that comes with that, like navigating the world as an adult, getting your first big boy job. I wore this still when I moved to New York City in 2012. And I don't know, just a lot of really happy memories of kind of late adolescence and young adulthood. And I think that's, for me at least, why I have it linked in my mind so closely to its status as this LGBT fragrance, because it was a time of self-discovery. And I mean that beyond just the sense, just in the sense of coming out, but of learning who you are and learning to be true to yourself. And I'm really proud of myself for doing that over that time period, and this was my companion the whole way through. Now when I wear it, I don't find it to be as enchanting as a fragrance, as a perfume, although I do think it's very nice. It's primarily a musk fragrance. In the top, there's a very nice lavender, which instead of reading to me as a fougere aromatic lavender, it actually smells like the essential oils that you would use to go to sleep or to spray your pillow with. And overall, this fragrance has a vibe that reminds me exactly of laundry, folded laundry. Um, it actually reminds me of like hot cotton t-shirts out of the dryer. Even though the kind of smell temperature of this fragrance, if that makes sense, is cool, it has a very comforting and cozy, fresh, crisp smell. There are in the heart some like weird, very artificial floral notes that I actually find I enjoy. I definitely say that freesia is noticeable and magnolia, which both of these scents kind of make it feel a little bit dated. I think of freesia as being a very 90s smell. And in the base, there is something a little bit comforting and woody. I don't know if I'd actually call it sandalwood. Overwhelmingly, though, it is a gentle laundry musk, and probably my favorite part about it is, especially in the deep dry down, I get this smell that reminds me of the feeling and the texture and the smell of a peach skin, like the fuzzy part of a peach that it gives this fragrance a very nuzzle me quality, like you just want to bury your nose into it and smell it. And I've actually heard many people who have smelled this fragrance on me say that about it, that it smells kind of unplaceably delicious or attractive. So even though this fragrance has almost no projection, up close, I will say that it is a really enchanting smell for, a relatively simple, cheap perfume. Anyway, I guess I don't actually have all that much to say about CKB. Most of what I feel about it is, I guess, just a personal feeling of nostalgia and comfort that I get from it. I'll always have a bottle of this in the collection because it holds a really special place in my heart. But I'd love to hear if you've worn it. I'd also really like to hear if there are fragrances that you identify with a specific time in your life, whether that be good or bad, and what it means to you. Thanks for sticking around and watching, and I hope you have a great weekend.